as Riot is expanding their universe more and more, and they are reaching out for a wider audience beyond their normal readers, we got more and more people who are getting interested in the lore of League of Legends. However, because the lore of League of Legends may get confusing at times, one question that is starting a lot of confusion in the community is, what is canon? And that is a question which I will answer for you in this video. So without further ado, let's talk about what is and isn't canon in League of Legends. Even though some people believe that everything is part of a single League of Legends universe, and everything is interconnected, that is actually not true. As of right now, League of Legends has 3 different universes. There is the core universe, the alternative skinlines universe, and the arcane universe. The names of these should be self-explanatory. The core universe is the main universe that is driving League of Legends forward. The alternative skinline universe is exactly that. It's like a little side project where Riot is writing the stories for different skins. It's a scenario of what if Lucian was a demon hunting cowboy? And what if Ezreal was from the future? So don't take the alternative skinlines universes seriously, but just know that some skinlines have really cool short stories too. Star Guardian, Blood Moon and Odyssey are the most fleshed out. These are amazing. And then of course there is the newcomer, the Arcane universe. While Arcane is based on the main universe of League of Legends, it definitely has some big differences from the core universe. That's because the writers behind Arcane had to move away from the core story to make it better for the cinematic viewing. I don't think it would be that interesting to watch Victor's adventures in his university. That's why the stories were made different. If you are interested in how massive the differences are between the core universe and the Arcane universe, we did make a video about it. There are differences like Echo's parents, he has them in the core universe, he doesn't in Arcane, Jace and Victor's origins are vastly different, and Singed is a totally different character. Stuff like that. Not to mention that instead of Piltover and Zone being one above the other, in Arcane they are next to each other. Split by the river Pilt, which is supposed to be below the city, and it's connected by a few bridges. Anyway, that's the Arcane universe. So now, when it comes to the core universe, let's have a look at what it's made out of. The core universe is the main canon storyline of League of Legends. If you want to look into this main lore, Riot has a website called Universe, which archives all the lore. And the golden rule is, if it's written on Universe, it is canon. Anything from champion bios to short stories connected to them. All of that is the canon lore. But there are a few exceptions. Even though Riot's been writing the core universe since the release of Aurelion Sol, some champions are still very old, and their story was never properly updated. So as of me recording this video, the champions whose stories are not considered canon are Shaco, Corki, and Cho'Gath and Kog'Maw. It's very easy to see which champions are not canon. If their bio has 3 sentences of lore, yeah, something's missing. But the core universe is expanded by more than just walls of text. We also have the fully canon interactive map. There, if you click on some of the places, you may find unique descriptions that describe entire nations and cities. All of that, from the description of the places to the descriptions of the animals, is canon as well. Beyond this, we also have comics, which are fully canon too, with the exception of the Sentinels of Light comics. Those took some liberties, and we don't talk about them. Right now, Zed, Ashe and Lux are the big comics. These are amazing if you are interested in the lore of League of Legends, but you don't like reading. But what about the shorter comics, like Darius, Varus or Nami? So far, even though they are older, Riot honored them too, so these are canon. And you might be surprised how many more there are of these. But once again, you can find all of this on Universe. It is right there in the comics section. And as you may remember, what's on Universe is canon. We then also have to mention the cinematics. Besides the Rise cinematic, not Rise, Rise. Because that one is a bit older, not everything there is canon, even though Lucian is now. Besides that one, cinematics usually reflect future lore. They are not canon down to the detail, but they are mostly canon. I'll show you what I mean by this. In the Warriors cinematic, we saw the battle with Silas in the Freljord, and then we saw Caitlyn and Vi hunting down Urgot. While at that time these were random things to see, both of these storylines appeared on Universe months later. So the cinematic was teasing stories which Riot was already working on. Before that, there was the Awakened cinematic. The interesting thing about that one is that the Awakened cinematic started as a what-if exploration. It was kinda like, it would be cool to see a Riven fighting Draven. What if they actually got to fight? But later, Riot realized that they can actually turn it canon. And so, that's what they did. Almost a year after that cinematic was released, all of those stories were becoming canon. Jin's performance was confirmed in the Z comic. Riven being in Noxus was confirmed in the Sisterhood of War series, where her former teammates dragged her from Ionia back to Noxus. And the second invasion of Ionia with Irelia has not happened yet. That one should arrive in the future. So the cinematics shouldn't be considered as 100% canon? You know, we don't know if Riven actually fought Draven, we just know that she was imprisoned back in the arena again. But so far, the stories that appeared in the cinematics became canon sooner or later. When it comes to the latest cinematic, every single storyline that appeared there did become canon on Universe less than 3 months later. So these are the main sources when it comes to real canon lore. It's basically Universe, comics, and cinematics. There is also the Garen novel, that was a one-off that happened. It was a really good book, to be honest. And there is the Realms of Runeterra book. That's also a big expansion of the universe. But besides these, let's talk about the stuff that should not really be considered canon. Because the canon quality is all over the place. First of all, there are in-game events. We haven't had too many of these, but funnily enough, Spirit Blossom is actually canon. All the spirity skins there are real spirits that people in Ionia believe in. It's just that they don't call those spirits Ari or Thresh, they just call them the Collector. And then we also got the Ruination. The Ruination has two halves. When it comes to the in-game event, only the main storyline was canon. The Sentinels went there, they did that, they fought Viego, they banished him. That's it. When it comes to the details, no, Olaf didn't fart in Ionia, we don't even know if Pyke became a Sentinel, and what the heck was Rengar doing there? This, however, is also where we should mention Riot Forge, because the Ruined King game is fully canon. What happened there did happen. Maybe not down to the very details, after all it is an RPG game, and so you can play it however you want, so I don't think Yasuo sold his blade to a vendor because he found a better sword in the world, but yes, the point of Riot Forge is that their games expand the universe. They are absolutely part of the main lore. In-game events, not so much. We should also mention the fact that not everything a writer mentions on Reddit or Twitter is canon. It doesn't matter what you hear on the social media, and it doesn't matter who wrote it. Always take it with a massive pinch of salt. In the past, Riot made up their mind quite a few times, and what they revealed on Twitter ended up not being true. It happened with Champion Age, and back in the day there was some confusion when it comes to Vel'Koz. These days, Glamour is confusing too. But yes, when it comes to Twitter and Reddit, feel free to ignore them. But then we have the elephant in the room. We got Legends of Runeterra. Originally, Riot said that everything in Legends of Runeterra is canon. And then we got time-traveling Cytherea. In case you don't know what's happening with her, she got into the Demacian military during Silas's rebellion. That happened when King Jarvan III died. But in the cards, she is shown as a loyal servant of the king, which shouldn't be possible since he's supposed to be dead by the time she becomes a recruit. So no, Legends of Runeterra is not fully canon, but solid 90% of it is. Remember that it was built on the canon universe, and it greatly helps visually show Runeterra. But it has both good and bad sides. We rarely got to see the Ursine, so Legends of Runeterra revealed what they looked like. But then, is Galio's army real, even though it's messing up Galio's story with his maker? I don't know. It's great to see the Celestials behind Aphelios' weapons, but can Poros actually survive on the Shadow Isles? I don't know. So be careful with Legends of Runeterra. It's really an awesome game to expand the universe, but that's what it really is. An expansion of the universe, not a foundation. Because every now and then, things may get sketchy with the cards, especially when they need to force gameplay onto them. Like Nocturne being on the Shadow Isles for no reason. And finally, we should mention one last thing. Something that a lot of people think is canon, but in reality it is not. Mostly. And that's champion interactions. You see, these interactions, which you can hear in-game, are written as what-if scenarios. What if Swain met LeBlanc on the battlefield? And what if Garen met Katarina? The thing about this is that some champions have interactions with each other as if they knew each other. But in the canon universe, they never even met. Lux and Ezreal are a great example. We legitimately have no idea if they ever met. But then, from time to time, during these what-if scenarios, the interactions actually reveal canon lore. Renata is an excellent example of this. When talking to Camille, in a scenario of what if Renata met Camille, she mentions that over 30 years ago, Camille likely assassinated her parents. This is never mentioned anywhere on Universe, so we only know about this connection between Renata and Camille because of the interactions. So while most of the interactions in-game should not be taken as canon, every now and then there is a voice line or two that is written specifically as a reveal of a piece of lore. Swain and Galio is another example, which then got ruined by Legends of Runeterra. But that's pretty much how the canon universe of League of Legends works. It is a separate thing from Arcane, and only the stuff that is written down on Universe is really considered canon. And not everything writers say is canon. When in doubt, just stick to the main golden rule. If it's on Universe, it is canon. And funnily enough, to this day, in the core universe, we technically still don't know if Vi and Jinx are sisters.